welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat, and Happy New Year. Today we're going to be talking about my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. I'm also going to be giving you guys some honorable mentions as well. I always feel like this list is harder to do than the best of year list that I do at the end of the year, because when you're looking at the upcoming year, you don't necessarily know about all the surprise hits that you're going to have, or some of the indie films that don't have a release date, things like that. And so a lot of times those end up making my best of at the end of the year, and so just kind of know that going into this list. But these, based off the data that I do have, these are the films that I'm really looking forward to or have piqued my interest in the upcoming year. But before we dive into the list, if you guys are new to the channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, first up, we're going to be talking about Death of a Unicorn. This is from A24, and it stars Jenna Ortega, Paul Rudd, Will Poulter, as well as a number of other people in this cast. They have an amazing cast for this film. Seeing the trailer for it, which came out just a couple weeks ago, and a unicorn coming after them, trying to kill them. Yeah, sign me up. I'm ready for this. It looks like it's going to be all kinds of batshit crazy, and I am here for it. Next up, we have The Gorge. So this is coming to Apple TV Plus, I believe, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy and Miles Miller. Now they play two highly trained operatives who are both in a tower on each side of this gorge, and they're assigned to watch this gorge over the next year, and their job is to keep what is inside from getting out. And basically one of the characters tells Miles, he says that this is you're guarding the gates to hell, and you have to keep what's down there from getting out. And so just the trailer alone, it looks amazing. I'm kind of surprised that this isn't getting a theatrical release. Again, I'm pretty sure I think it's just Apple Plus, which is it's going to be a shame if that's the case. But Anya Taylor-Joy, you guys know me. I'm a big fan of her, and Miles Teller, so I can't wait for this one. It should be a lot of fun. After that, we got Megan 2.0. I had a lot of fun with the original Megan film that came out just a couple years ago. And what I'm hoping that they do with 2.0 is that they just really up the ante and maybe push things a little bit further. Maybe just add a little bit gore here and there as well. But I love the original film, and so I can't wait to see how they're going to expand this world and what they're going to do in the sequel. Next up, we have The Bride, directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal. And so this is a remake of The Bride of Frankenstein. I am a big fan of the classic Universal monster movies. That's what I kind of grew up on as a little kid, and how I got into horror. And so anytime there's a new interpretation, I'm at least interested to see what they're going to do with the material. I'm really excited to see what Maggie's going to do with this. Have a great cast. Christian Bale's in here. The only thing with him, we got an image of the character of Frankenstein and has some tattoos and stuff on him. I just don't know if I like the look of the character overall, but granted, it is just a still. We'll wait until we actually see a full trailer to make any further judgments, but I am interested to see what they're going to do, because I love the character of the Bride of Frankenstein. The Bride is one of my favorite characters out of the Universal Monster Universe. And to follow that up, we have Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I don't know what the release date is for this one yet, but again, this is a remake or a reimagining of the Frankenstein movie. And now, Guillermo del Toro, he's an interesting filmmaker. I obviously respect him. The guy is a genius. I love all of his films. Always look gorgeous. The creatures and effects, all of that are top notch. Sometimes I just don't connect with the stories necessarily. So his films are kind of hit and miss for me. So I can't wait to see what he does here. I'm sure it's going to look amazing. And the cast that he has: Oscar Isaac, Jacob Elordi, Mia Goth. That has me really interested, and so it could be a really good year for Universal monster movies. Plus, we also have, it's not on this list, but we also have Wolfman that's coming out in January. Up next, we have The Smashing Machine, directed by Benny Safdie, and this stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Emily Blunt. He plays a former wrestler, MMA fighter, and the reason that I'm most excited to check this one out, just because I feel like it's going to be something different for The Rock from what we're kind of used to seeing from him over the past several years, and so I'm really curious to see how he brings this character to life. Next, we have Companion. This comes out just the end of January, I believe, so it's coming out pretty soon. And the reason why that I am so excited, the main reason is because when you're watching the trailer, it says the studio that brought you The Notebook, but then right after that it says from the creators of the unhinged minds behind Barbarian, something along those lines. And just knowing that it's from the minds of the people who brought us Barbarian a few years ago, which I'm still pissed that we don't have a physical release of that movie, because watching that movie in theaters was one of the most fun times I had at the movie theaters that year, because you just didn't know where the film was going, from one scene to the next, and that was so fun. We don't get that too often, I feel like, with films anymore, because a lot of times the trailers spoil it for us, but the marketing campaign for that was great. And so this is definitely one of my films that I can't wait to check out, especially one of my most anticipated horror films of the year. And lastly, as far as the honorable mentions go, I'm going to say I Know What You Did Last Summer. I don't know if that's the official title. It's the legacy sequel to the I Know What You Did Last Summer. Finally got Jennifer Love Hewitt's coming back. We got Freddie Prinze Jr., as well as a bunch of other newcomers that are in this cast. There's a little bit of behind-the-scenes drama, it seems like, so just that alone kind of has me interested to see how this is going to turn out. I'm also interested to see if they're going to be able to capture the magic of what Scream was able to do with doing Scream 5 and 6, and was really successful. Will I Know What You Did that last summer be able to kind of do that same thing? And of course, I love the original film. It's definitely cheesy and has its its campy moments, but I love popping that in every summer. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. All right, guys, now jumping into my top 10 most anticipated films of the year, starting off with number 10, Avatar: Fire and Ash. Ever since this was announced, we knew that James Cameron was doing more Avatar films, but when this was announced at D23 that it was going to be called Fire and Ash, we got some of the visuals. We're getting a new tribe, it looks like. I'm really interested to see what that's going to look like, the different landscapes, the characters. So I'm eagerly anticipating that, and it's James Cameron. Anytime the guy puts out a film, I'm going to be there. At number 9, we have a film that I did not think was going to be here because I wasn't really anticipating the previous entry, and that is Wicked: For Good. The first film ended up being one of my favorite films of 2024, and so this had to make my list of most anticipated films. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do to wrap up the story. Obviously, kind of have an idea, just knowing what happens in The Wizard of Oz. And that comes out, I believe, end of this year. I think it's like around Thanksgiving, around-ish the same time. So yeah, looking forward to that one. At number 8, we have The Thunderbolts. This was the title when it was first announced. I wasn't really sure how I felt about it, but when we finally got a trailer for it just a little bit ago last year, I was like, okay, this is giving me some Guardians of the Galaxy type of vibes. And so now I'm really looking forward to that, because Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, is one of my favorite Marvel films of all time. And just we kind of have that ragtag group of anti-heroes in this film. And so just the relationships between them, Florence Pugh as Yelena, she's awesome, but I'm really interested to see just how the rest of this cast kind of all interacts with each other, and I just think it's going to be a lot of fun overall. At number 7, we have 28 Years Later. Man, this was a film that I was starting to think that we were maybe never going to get, but we finally got the trailer for it, and it looks amazing. I feel like it's been a little while since we've got, and I know some people are going to say, but they're not technically zombies. They're zombies. But I feel like it's been a little bit since we've got a really great zombie film in theaters, unless I'm just missing, I can't think of one off the top of my head. But when we got a lot of the original creators, Cillian Murphy's coming back for this film. We don't really know to what capacity. I know some people thought that he was the zombie-looking guy rising up in the field at one point, but I guess that was debunked. And we see there's one guy that kind of looks like a giant that's standing on the field at one point, and also when they're running in the tunnels. The trailer looked amazing. Some other great cast in there too. So yeah, one of my most anticipated horror releases of the year so far. At number 6, we have The Fantastic Four: First Steps. So Marvel is finally getting their crack at doing a Fantastic Four film. I should say in the MCU, they're getting their first crack at doing this, and got a great cast: Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, the guy, I'm spacing his name, but the guy's playing the Thing. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I think they're going to do this justice this time around, and I have a feeling that we'll probably get a little cameo from Doctor Doom at the very end, post-credit scene or something along those lines. Oh, and they also have Ralph Ineson, I believe, is doing the voice of Galactus, which I think is a fantastic choice. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one. At number 5, we have How to Train Your Dragon, the live action version. I am a huge fan of the animated series. It's one of my favorite set of animated films of all time. And so I was a little nervous when they initially announced that they're going to be doing a live action version of this. But knowing that they have the creator of the previous films coming back, they also have Gerard Butler coming back as Stoic, which I think is really cool. And they have a really solid cast so far for the characters that I've seen. And then we've got to get our first look at Toothless in the trailer, and he looks fucking amazing. So I cannot wait to see this up on the big screen and see it in live action. I think that the people that are kind of on the fence right now, I think they're going to be surprised with this one. At number 4, we have Wildwood. This is a new stop-motion animated film from Laika, the same studio that did Coraline. This is directed by Travis Knight. And anytime that Laika has a new film coming out, I am going to be there. Like I said, loved Coraline. I'm a big fan of stop motion animation in general, and so I know we've gotten like a little bit of a teaser for this, but hopefully we'll get like an actual full trailer for this soon. But yeah, just going off the studio, the talent that's behind the camera, directing the film, and some of the voices as well. So I'm really interested in this one. At number 3, we have Zootopia 2. This has taken a while to finally come out, and was a film that I wasn't sure if we were going to get a sequel, but I mean, it did so well at the box office that I would have been kind of surprised if they didn't. When the original Zootopia came out, it was one of my favorites, if not my favorite animated film that came out that year, and so I'm really excited to connect with these characters again, revisit that world. So that's why that was no-brainer. I was going to make my list for this year. Number 2, we have Superman. This is James Gunn's first official film in the new DCU. We just recently got a trailer for it, and yeah, I mean, one of the reasons why I'm so excited, just because it is the first film in the new DCU, so we kind of get a taste of what to expect from James Gunn's universe. I'm a big fan of the guy, obviously love the original Guardians of the Galaxy, but love that trilogy as a whole, some of his other films, and so I think he's going to knock this one out of the park, just from what we've kind of saw in the trailer. And I know some people, from the previous regime aren't too happy with that. So I'm sure I'll probably get some comments on that, down below in the video for sure. But yeah, this film has to be good. A lot is riding on this, because if it isn't, it could very, very well derail kind of the whole universe. And so I think they put a lot into this. I think David Cornsweet, the guy who's playing Superman, it was cool to see him in Pearl. And just from the looks and from the little bit of what I saw him in Pearl, I think he's going to do a good job with that character. All right, guys, and now we finally have my number 1 most anticipated film of the year, which I do have to say, looking at it recently, I'm hoping that this is still coming out in 2024. If it doesn't, oh well, I guess we'll just like bump up my list a little bit. But my number 1 film is They Follow, the sequel to It Follows, which, if you guys know me, is one of my favorite horror films in the last decade. I absolutely love the original film. I know it's not for everyone, but I just absolutely fell in love with it the first time that I saw it, and I've seen that several times, over the years. So when they announced that they were going to be doing a sequel, Michael Monroe is going to be coming back, the director's coming back as well, I was like, okay, yes. And I guess Micah, she had read the script, it was a little bit ago last year, and so, but I haven't seen anything since about them starting filming, so I don't know if they have begun that process, how long it's going to take, and so I am hoping that this is coming out in 2025. I might have said 2024 a second ago, but 2025. And if it isn't, it'll definitely be a bummer, because, yeah, as soon as that was announced, I was like, that's probably going to be my most anticipated film of the year. And it is. So, yeah, that is my list, guys. I'm really curious to see or hear what your guys' thoughts are as far as what some of your most anticipated films are down below. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button as well as the bell button next to it. That way you get notifications for all my new videos. Give this video a thumbs up. And as always, guys, please make sure to check back for more Pop Culture with Pat.